Yeah, what up? It's Base Boxing Basement Triple B. Please hit the like button, for real, because it protects the channel. I mean, if you love it, we protect the channel because the haters are out there, man, and they hate the truth. They want to destroy the truth. You know, they don't want the truth to be known. You know, even my live. So a lot of people are complaining like the image is fuzzy. But there shouldn't be. There ain't nothing wrong with my broadband. Ain't nothing wrong with StreamYard. There ain't nothing wrong with YouTube. They're hating. So okay? Anyway, I was going to talk about... So there are a lot of heavyweight fights this weekend, right? Big heavyweights were in action. Hrgovic, Joyce was the biggest one. But it was David Adeleye, Jamie TKV, whatever his name is. You know what I'm saying? Baku Jalolov was fighting. He's from Uzbekistan, but he was fighting in Kazakhstan, right? And the Cory King, Guido Vianello, was fighting Richard Torres Jr. And then there was Hughie Fury. Hughie Fury, the alleged 30-year-old. Damn, you know. It was a big weekend of heavyweight boxing. It was disappointing, man. It was very disappointing, yeah. But anyway, before I talk about that, right, I just want to talk about the doors. Yeah, this kind of random, man. It's kind of like a tangent thing, but I got home, I went to the gym, you get me? I was, I felt low, man. You know, how can you feel good with this sickness in the world, man? So, and then I got recommended The Doors. I never watched no movies or nothing because it's rubbish. But because I live in the basement, I often put the TV on just so I got some people voices, and recommended The Doors, the director's cut. I started to watch it, man. You know, it's a film that when you're young, you think is great. But now I look at it and I see the sickness, the pushing of degeneracy, the lies, the attacks. You know what I'm saying? There's all these symbols like the Ankh and all this kind of stuff, man. But, you know, when I was young, I thought it was pretty good, The Doors. Jim Morrison's just another degenerate, though. Okay? You know, his dad was an admiral in the Navy. I think he was involved in the Gulf of Tonkin that allegedly set off the Vietnam War? Yeah, his dad was admiral. It was some big shit. You know what I'm saying? It makes you suspicious. A lot of people say, what, the CIA or the FBI admitted they deliberately infiltrated Rolling Stone magazine and all these kind of music companies because they're playing psychological tricks. Yeah, that's right, Tyson. They're playing psychological tricks. They're testing propaganda, psychological manipulation. And while I was watching the film, I've only watched the first 20 minutes or something, and there's a fly. Yeah, there's this fly on my TV. Yeah, I have a cheap TV. I'm not buying no big TV. High def rubbish. I just got a normal TV. And there's this fly. And he keeps on walking on the screen while I'm trying to watch The Doors. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. This is starting to annoy me, man. This is starting to annoy me. And I think, well, maybe I'll go and kill it. And I'm like, I don't like killing creatures. But, you know, I could sweep it away. Maybe I should get it high. And it would fly off and sit on its own. But, yeah. But I decided, no, man. Be strong. Ignore the fly. Just watch the movie, man. Don't let the fly distract you. And maybe it was a sign. It was a sign. What you're watching is a turd. The Doors are turds. The film. It's got Val Kilmer who just died, by the way. So that's why it was quite interesting. Val Kilmer was in Top Gun. All the girls went crazy. He played Jim Morrison in The Doors, and I don't think they could have got anyone better, you know. But they're all degenerate pigs. Hollywood is a sickness, man. Hollywood is Babylon's book. You know what I'm saying? Manipulating you, messing with your head, implying sick ideas. And they're like, every film's got an age restriction. Yeah, don't give me that, man. That's just an excuse. They know the kids watch it. They know the kids going to watch things. that are 18s. They're on late at night. They're recording back in the day. We used to record them on VHS. I was 10-year-olds and I watched 18s. And it messed me up, man. They know. They're just trying to go, oh, this is a 15, this is an 18. This will stop the 15 and 18-year-olds watching it. Yeah, of course it won't. Yeah, this is how they mess. You see the sick stuff like Naked Attraction on TV. Disgusting. I don't even want. It's a dating program allegedly, where people sit naked and they always get deformed people. Yeah, it's some weird stuff. What, you don't think a kid's gonna watch that in their bedroom at 10 p.m.? Come on, man. They know what they're doing. They mess with you from a young age, man. Yeah, they used to. People say, right? People say they used to part of the game, part of the indoctrination, they used to leave prawn mags around schools in the bushes where the kids would find it. I thought it was nonsense, but I remember finding a couple of those. I also remembered, and many people online said, yeah, we always used to find these prawn mags near our school in the bushes. Were they planted there, or was it just sick people who watched it, the magazine, and were so disgusted after they whacked off, they threw it away? I don't know, man. But they will know. The kid's going to watch this sickness. And that's how they warp people's minds, man. Anyway, this is a boxing channel, so we're going to talk about boxing. So the big fights, the weekend, the big heavyweight fights, and you know what? The only boxers that counts are the heavyweights. You can enjoy the lighter weights, don't get me wrong. But don't be sitting there going, oh, Floyd Mayweather's the best in the world. Put him in against Dave Allen or even Dan Garber, who fought Hughie Fury, and you get knocked out, man. Yeah, if boxing was pure, there'd be no weight divisions. You feel me? So there was a lot of heavyweight fights, man. And also the smaller boxers, they're always jealous, man. They're always jealous. Those midget boxers are so bitter. They're always going, oh, if I was a heavyweight, I'd be making billions. I'd be one way better than them. Yeah, but you're not a heavyweight. And the heavyweights have different restrictions. They got bigger bodies. There's fewer of them. But they're the kings. Yeah, if Sonny Edwards wants to fight Dave Allen, good luck to him. Them midget boxers always so bitter. Oh, why don't we get the same money? We deserve it. We're much more skillful. We're much better boxers. We're much more exciting. No, you ain't. It's so unfair. Blah, blah, blah. F off midgets. You're midgets. You're lucky you're allowed to box. Otherwise, if there was no weight divisions, you'd be getting smashed all over the shop. Anyway, you wouldn't even be a boxer, man. You'd have to find another sport. Maybe bowls might suit you. Okay. So we had Hrgovic, Joyce. Yeah, Philip Hrgovic vs. Joyce. And, in heavyweight terms, they're both coming off losses, right? But it means something. You only need one win as a heavyweight, and you're at the top again. You're earning millions, right? And Joyce, well, he's not in a great state. He's 39. He's been mashed up in 3 of his last 4 fights. KO'd and knocked down. Hrgovic lost to Daniel Dubum. Hrgovic looks like he just can't be bothered half the time. Joyce just, it doesn't matter. He's been in boxing, 20 years, and he still doesn't know how to move his head 1 inch to the left or 1 inch to the right. You know what I'm saying? He can't do it, man. He can't even do it. He can't even put his hands up properly. He just sits there getting punch after punch in the face. And he thinks it's fine. Anyway, Hrgovic Joyce, well, it was one of the ugliest fights I've seen. And by that, it wasn't particularly skillful. The good thing is there was no holding. Right? But it was like watching, let's say the 2 toughest bouncers in town have had a row. And they've decided to sort it out by having a brawl in the car park to settle their differences. And we didn't see any skill. Oh, we saw heart, we saw chin, we saw power, we saw determinedness and fitness. But basically we saw two huge lumps throwing haymakers, uneducated punches and battering each other. And like, don't get me wrong, you know, it was an enjoyable fight to watch in the sense that you never quite knew who would win, right? Hrgovic deservedly got the decision, but you know, I mean, Joyce, the flush shots he took, I mean, it was horrible. I felt sick in the last 2 rounds. I was like, come on, man. You know, I'm not saying it wasn't like pull him out, corner, pull him out. It's just like pull him out, not because he's losing the fight, but because this man's taking too much punishment, man. He's gonna be like Harvey Price in about a couple of years, maybe 10 years. He'll be like Harvey Price. Some people say he looks like Harvey Price anyway. But you know, damn. I mean, it was ugly. And Joyce wants to carry on. He says no one's got the right to tell me to stop. Well, fair enough. But at what stage do you say, I've had enough of you, man? You know, I've had enough. You have to put some rationalism into your thinking, you know, because your brain has been turned into chocolate mousse. You know, and so it was disappointed. If it was the first time you've shown someone boxing, yeah, they'd be like, this is just brawling, unsophisticated. There's no skill, they're just brawling. And that's exactly what it was, man. That's exactly what it was. Anyway, Hrgovic carries on. Joyce says he's going to carry on. He's not going to retire. Moron. I mean, I've almost very little sympathy left. On the undercard, David Adeleye fought a guy called Jamie Shakeva, and apparently they've got beef. And, you know, they've been like, you know, sparring partners and allegedly friends. It's probably all fake, and it was, again, an unskillful fight. Shakeva had the better jab and was winning on points. Adelaide seemed to, you know, maybe hold back a little, like he was waiting for the opening. And the opening came illegally. The opening came illegally. The referee said, stop, and put his arm on Shakeba's arm. Shakeba turns his head and then blam, he gets knocked the F out. Sparkle. But he gets up and the ref lets him carry on. And the ref knows he's messed up. And he takes a bunch of more shots and gets stopped. But like the ref knew. The ref denied it afterwards. I didn't say stop. Yeah, you did. You're on tape. Huh? I mean, he should have been DQ'd, Adelaide. You cannot whack someone, right, when the ref has yelled break twice. You've got to stop punching. And if you knock him out, you have to be DQ'd. You can't take a point away and expect a man to carry on, can you? After he's been ironed out. So, you know. But and neither of them look great at all. At all. You know, Adelaide is one of those muscular bucks that can punch, and that will get him somewhere. But, you know, it was another ugly, undisciplined display of boxing. Anyway, next up, right? So, well, not next up. Previous to that, there was Baku Jalov. You know, the double Olympic gold medalist, the triple-time Olympist. You get me? I think Joyce beat him in his first Olympics. But he's won the gold twice. He's also ironed out Richard Torrez when Torrez was like 19. He keeps on going back to being an amateur, even though he had a pro record of 14 wins and 14 KOs. He's fighting, I'm freestyling this, so I'm not even looking at no notes. Ihor Shatovsky or something, I don't know, some Ukrainian called a Hulk, who was short, stocky, he looked like Butterbean. But, you know, with slightly better boxing skills. He was an international Ukrainian amateur. He just got fat. I don't know, why isn't he at war? Why is he not fighting at war? It's funny, these guys, man. None of these Ukrainian boxers seem to go to war, you know. Anyway, that's another issue. But yeah, Jalolov, I don't know, he looks skinny. I mean, he's 6'8", right? He's known as the Big Uzbek, which is extremely unimaginative because, well, he's big and he's an Uzbek. But come on, man. I mean, there must be something better they must be able to call him. There must be a better nickname than the Big Uzbek, you know? And you know, like Jalolov and the other Uzbek gold medalists get £1 million when they win the gold medals. So he's got at least 2 mil from his gold medals, plus other kind of stuff. He gets paid a salary probably. And he dropped this Ukrainian in the third round. I thought, okay. He's very patient, Jalolov, actually, in the pros. He doesn't take risks. He reminds me of Vladimir Klitschko 2.0, yeah. I mean, that's not a bad thing in terms of results. I think it probably his chin's better. But, yeah, he looked quite skinny against a huge Hulk. But he dropped him in round 3, and then he just, well, he didn't go to really stop him. And he went the distance, and he won on points. But there's times, man, when Jalolov's head was in between rounds, you know, he was down. He was looking at the floor. He didn't want to be there, as far as I could say. Not because the Ukrainian, the Hulk, was so tough. It was like his heart's not in it, man. There's something weird going on with Jalolov. Baku Jalolov. I thought he was the future, but honestly, maybe he's had too much money. He's had enough of boxing. I don't know how many amateur fights he's had, but certainly more than 100. You know, he's in 15 amateur fights now. He's probably sick of it, man. Sick of it. And he was disappointing because I thought I was going to see some quality boxing. And all I saw was some, you know, patience. The jab, the this, the that, the, you know, no anger in the punches. You know, no spitefulness, which you need at the top level, yeah. I don't know. I don't think that Jalolov is going to do anything. I wouldn't be surprised if he just retires, to be honest with you. Anyway, next on the menu, I don't watch it live because it's late. Vianello, you know, and a man who Tyson Fury, when he's in bed, he can't sleep because he wishes he was like Guido Vianello. Why? Because he said it himself. He's got the body of a Greek god, a great tan, and a large Cory. All things, right? He's handsome. All things that Tyson Fury doesn't have. Actually, Tyson Fury wasn't a bad-looking young lad. He was signed up by Manchester Model Agency, amazingly. But so Guido Vianello is fighting Richard Torres Jr., who's the big American hope. Well, probably the only one. There isn't no one else. What is there? Wilder? Well, not anymore. He's been rubbed out, you know, by the Big Bang, by Joe Parker, by Tyson Fury twice, you know. And it's a crossroads fight, if you like. I mean, Guido is still, well, technically a prospect because he hasn't fought that many fights, but he's 30. He's very experienced, but he lacks something. Torres, you know, who apparently does ballet. Oh, I mean, that's fruity. He came into some classical pianist, which is quite interesting. Yeah, it was a messy fight. Ugly fight. An ugly fight. Yet another one. Yeah, there was a biased ref who took off a point off Guido for holding in the second round. And Guido was holding a bit, but then Torres was just charging in with his head. You know, he would just charge in with his head, throw a couple of punches that either missed or hit around the body area, and then Guido would hold him. And, you know, it was a clash of styles. Southpaw of his orthodox as well. Yeah, and then later on in the fight, Guido Vianello's calling go, he's leading with his head. And the ref, I've never known anything like this. In the middle of the fight, turns to the corner and goes, hey, he's 6 foot. What else is he going to lead with? What? He's basically saying it's completely okay for Richard Torres to bore in with his head because he's 6 foot. And he ain't 6 foot. He's 6'2", by the way. You know? It was very weird. It was a messy, ugly fight. Torres was as much to blame for the ugliness of the fight. It wasn't just... Guido's got no inside game. That's his problem. He's got a good chin. He took some flush shots later on. And Torrez won. But it was, again, a messy, disappointing fight. And neither of those two are the future of the heavyweight division. And the Americans are going to cry because Richard Torrez, man, is the only one they got. The only one. Yeah, there's just two more heavyweights to talk about. Delicious Ori, the Olympian, who lost in the first round, and everyone was crying in the British papers. Oh, he got robbed. No, he didn't, man. I watched that fight. He's fighting an Armenian guy. I can't remember his name. It could have gone either way, but there was no way of robbery. I actually had the Armenian winning, edging it. So Delicious Cory is fighting some journeyman called Vianello. So a huge fat guy from the Balkans, you know, and you're just like, come on, you got to blow him out in a round or two. No, they went the full distance, 4 rounds. Vianello was tough, but Cory, Delicious Cory, his accuracy was terrible. Most of his shots were missing. How can he miss? I said it in the live. How can you miss a heavy bag who doesn't move? How can you miss it? Well, he managed it, right? And when he did land, it didn't hurt Vianello. Vianello obviously is tough, but like, he must lack power. He lacks accuracy. He lacks power. He's not going to make it. Delicious Ori, probably in about 5 years, going to go, damn, I wish I went to the WWE because he was offered WWE contract. I understand why he took boxing, you know, because if it doesn't work out, he might still be able to do WWE, but like, you know, it's his only chance of boxing. He's 27 too. He's no youngster, but he's not terrible. But he had everything that he should have. You know, broad shoulders. He's big, heavyweight. Zits all over his back, which means he's on the PED. Okay, guys. Although, according to Otto Wallin, he isn't on PED because he's never failed a test. But, yeah, it was just disappointing. The less said about it, the better. Delicious Cory's going nowhere. Maybe he's another Solomon Dakers, you know? And finally, yeah, Hughie Fury, yeah? Hughie Fury, the 30-year-old Hughie Fury, who looks 65, man. I don't know whether they lied about his age, so when he was a junior, he was more mature than he was. It's not the first time I've heard of these situations. George Collins was allegedly 3 years older than he was, and he drove to the junior ABA finals himself with hairy legs. So, you know, I wouldn't believe Hughie Fury's age. But, yeah, he fought some guy called Dan Garber, who's Steve Garber is an ex-heavyweight. He knocked out, what's his name? Big John Fury, the uncle, Hughie Fury's uncle. He knocked him out. He was a journeyman, but a dangerous journeyman who could punch. But Dan Garber, according to some news sources, it's his son. According to other news sources, it's his nephew. I'm not, so who knows, right? He's one of these mixed guys that looks really white. He looks like an accountant, but he was terrible. He looked the part, man. Muscular, tall, in shape, fit. And Hughie Fury adopted this weird kind of new aggressive policy of instead of boxing on the back foot, he dips his body to the front and starts to throw punches, but there was no spite in his punches. He's a powder puff puncher. Also, his back was covered in zits as well, you know, which is very suspicious. Why have you got zits age 30 or age 55, whatever you really are? It doesn't make no sense, man. You know, the so-called shades of Ali, according to Mick Hennessy, you know. I mean, it was terrible. And he eventually stopped Garber, but Garber, I don't know what Garber's doing in boxing. He's got no business in boxing. He can't fight. He can't take a punch. He looks like an accountant. He should find an office job, right? And he could be the hardest man in the office because boxing is not for him. Boxing may not be for Hughie either. You know, he looked terrible. This is a guy who's fought for the World Heavyweight Championship. He's fought world-class opponents. who won a gold medal in the Junior Olympics, yet has no firepower despite the zits on his back, right? He's fighting in the 6th round in Bethnal Green, right, when he's supposedly world class. I mean, it was a dreadful, dreadful weekend of boxing, heavyweight boxing. I'm getting into the darts. I think I'm going to stick with darts and the bowls because boxing's looking drab. It's looking very drab.